What's up, beautiful souls? Hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. Your boy Loon is back with another video, and I am excited because today we are exploring a new forum on this channel, one that we found on a recent stream by accident. It's called the Pro Male Collective here, and I am so excited to dive into this because even on stream, I saw some very baffling things already on the forum. It seems to be a relatively new forum. However, upon doing some research, I found this video. The third wave of the Pro Male Collective is here by Pro Male Vendetta. I can't actually watch it on the channel because I think he uses copyrighted music. Don't want to risk it. But long story short, it seems like this forum is the third iteration of the forum. I don't know what the first two being, but it's the third version, and they're pushing for action to fight against feminism. And it's really interesting because I'm like, what kind of action? That's a little scary. But today we are going to be exploring all of their, motives and things that they want to talk about, I guess. I'm really fascinated because in the video, the Pro Male Vendetta or whatever his name is says, and I don't think he is the creator, he might be. He says that the goal of the Pro Male Collective isn't to vent or anything, but it's to have collective, organized action to push that of men's rights and to decrease male on male negativity. And like, I actually like that part because I'm here for all human rights. Like, men, women, everybody's rights is important. And I don't think anyone's rights is more important than the latter. I also do agree that men should stop putting down each other other men. So I am actually part of that faction. I like that part. However, the whole thing against pushing against feminism is interesting to me because feminism by definition is literally just women wanting to be equal, or people who want women to be equal, which like you don't want them to be equal. That's pretty interesting. I think what they mean to say is against radical feminism, which I can somewhat understand. But anyways, let's dive into the Pro Male Collective. And I know I'm going to make some enemies here. I mean, this forum seems to be relatively active. They're probably going to post me on it being like, look at this guy, look at this Asian guy talking about, and look, I just want to say this here. I am here pushing positivity. Look, I want you guys to be successful. It doesn't matter if you're a girl, guy, whatever, they, them, chair. I hope you guys are doing great things out there, and I'm all here for it. However, I am going to read discussion and give you guys feedback on it. I'm interested because it seems so far, just based off of the topics at hand here, they're not as dark and devious as Incel IS, but it is pretty interesting things. But first off, let's read the rules of this forum. So the OG PMC, I'm assuming that is the creator, I'm not too sure, says the Pro Male Collective is distinct from other male online male groups. Wait, other male online male groups? Okay. We are not part of the manosphere, and we are a breakaway from the female, let me zoom in more. Breakaway from the failed, controlled opposition men's rights movement, okay? We reject feminism 100%. See, that's pretty interesting to me because feminism definition by Oxford Languages describes the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. So you're rejecting that women are equal. That's pretty wild. And I mean, I know they're not trying to say it in a hateful way, but that's pretty hateful, bro. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more to block out certain words. Don't want to get demonetized, but it says, we reject, including the idea that feminism was valid in the past. We reject tradcons 100% as well. Don't know what that means. They are allies to feminists, either willingly allies or useful idiots. We are willing to teach newcomers about our ideology, but we expect them to leave their baggage from the failed toxic spaces because all of the other male spaces are failures. I'm not completely against that. I think Looksmax had parts that weren't too bad, but IS is a pretty wild world. I'm hoping that this form is better, but I mean, so far, not a hot start with the whole I don't even want women to be equal type beat. But let's see. We are all, a proactive activism or orientation space. We do not deal in coping in passivism. Okay, that's a little scary, but Here are the list of rules for you in our forum to post. 1, no misandry. That's a given. 2, no homophobia, racism, transphobia, or ethno-nationalism allowed. I actually, you know what? I commend them on that. I really like that. I appreciate that compared to the other forms. No calling women S word or W word or fem screen cap baiting in general. Wow. Okay. So far, not a great bit with this part, but so far, not as bad as IS by any means, but we'll see. We'll see. No tradcons. I don't know what that means. No promotion of marriage or the tradcon lifestyle. No promotion of marriage? Wow. Okay. No Fed baiting. Oh, saying the sort of thing an agent provocateur would say. Huh. I'm going to blur this next part here just because I have to scroll down. No PDF smearing or, PDF file smearing or spreading conspiracy theories against the elites. No concern trolling about misogyny. Misogyny is not real. Whoa, that is a wild take. Misogyny is not real? Brother, what? Misogyny and misandry are both real. They're the dislike of contempt or ingrained prejudice against women. Isn't that like most of these forms? It's literally, misogyny is just the dislike of women, right? A lot of these forms are that. So how are you going to say that that's not real? What? That's okay. Anyways, that's a baffle. I'm so confused at that already. 8, no promotion of bioreductionism, wonky theories like male excrements is cheap, eggs are expensive, are false, and are misandristic. No far righters, including Zionists. Oh, okay. There we go. Interesting. I could get with that. I also don't like far either side. AI data has to be clearly marked as AI data. If not, it will be removed. I like that. This is the part I had to blur mostly. No fap promotion or anti corn on the cob narratives. Corn on the cob is good. Anyone who is against corn on the cob is misandrous scum. What? Look, as someone who has used and watched corn on the cob, I would say I have knowledge on the subject. If somebody is against corn, I would totally understand depending on their basis for it. Now, I would highly recommend this guy watch the podcast by Chris Williamson. This one right here, The Modern S-Work Debate with Bonnie Blue and Luis Perry, because they dive into a lot of things that people don't really think about when it comes to corn. I mean, you can go anywhere from trafficking to like even the actual mental side of corn on the cob. I don't think that just watching corn is bad. That's my personal take. However, it can lead to worser things. And also the industry itself promotes very harmful. And sometimes there was a huge lawsuit. You guys can do your own research with the one famous one, The Hub, where there was a lot of really effed up things that was on that. So, it's a really dark space that you can dive into. I don't think any of that is good. And I think the average person just watching one time, or a few times, is not bad. However, the addiction and everything else, it can be a pretty dark space. So I don't agree with this. However, to each their own. If that's this dude's opinion, whatever. But to say it's misandrous scum, if you're against it, is wild. All right, 12. No incel or manosphere terminology normalization. Really? Okay. We do not want their brain rot slang in here. So they're really trying to differentiate themselves from incel and manosphere cultures. This is a pro-male safe space. No attacking or undermining other men over their status, S-life, S-uality, or targeting any perceived insecurities of men. I like that. I'm okay with that. What's crazy is I bet you if someone on this forum finds my video, they're going to talk crap about me. Watch. I just know it. 14, no ranting about women. I think I can actually unblur this. No ranting about women too much, as this is a bad for the mental health of males. I agree. Criticizing women and calling them out for stuff they do is not ranting, fed baiting, post about how women are not human is ranting. Okay, I'm okay with that. No posturing about hating women. This is bad optics, and most people who do this worship women anyways. Wow. Okay, I actually do agree with this. So far this form is like 50-50. I think the whole purpose of the form is really goofy, in my opinion. Some of the stuff that they're trying to push in terms of the rules to post on the forum, I'm somewhat okay with. But some of it, like what? The patriarchy doesn't exist? Brother, what? That's a bold claim that the patriarchy doesn't exist. I'm not saying that it does or doesn't, but I feel like it would lean that it does, because I mean, if you think about it, women did kind of get the end of the stick. I'm not even trying to be like mean or anything. I'm glad I'm a dude. Like, I'm happy I'm a dude because we get a lot of perks in life. There are bad things coming with the guy too. But I mean, that is with any group. No defending or wait, hold up. The patriarchy doesn't exist and never did. So no promotion of that concept. This includes tradcons who think the patriarchy is good and feminists who think it is evil. No defending or downplaying MGM. This space completely rejects the practice 100%. I don't know what that is either. A lot of things I don't know. No promotion of masculinity. We do not believe in the concept at all. We do not believe it is good or evil. It just doesn't exist. We reject feminists who use the term to demonize men. Wait, what? Masculinity is qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of boys or men. What? So you're saying that men don't have inherent behaviors. That's fascinating. I don't think that's correct by actual psychological studies and physiological studies as well, but interesting. Okay. Anyone can believe whatever, though. We reject females who use the term to demonize men and tradcons who want to be good masculine slaves to women. Okay. Oh, and we have people who like are giving feedback on the rules. Most of it seems to be agreed. However, some people don't agree with some things. Okay, I like that. People want to take away from men everything that brings joy. What? I feel like this claim is also said for women. Anti-corn on the cob is misandry, just like anti-M and anti-video games. Oh, women play video games too. Anti-M also applies to women then as well. And anti-corn on the cob is more geared towards men, but also women watch it as well. I think the corn on the cob thing is beyond just actual like enjoyment. There's a lot of things and layers that go into that industry that can be very dark. People want men to be obedient slaves to women and not have any form of escapism. Also, people who are anti are usually also against M and video games. That's a wild take. I don't think that's a thing. I think religious people might be. But anyways, so that was just the rules. And we're already 15 minutes into the video. This is going to be an interesting one. All right, let's see some of the topics here. All right, we got Jessica here. Wait, is this a girl? Or I thought this was a men only thing. Okay. We'll just say it's a girl, but all right, we'll see. So this is the PMC Mana. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube without getting pinned, but you know, Festo. Men are an oppressed underclass. Really? Because if we're talking like actual classes and monetary, the median weekly earnings based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics of the US were 1,302 for men. And again, this goes layers in because, you know, different jobs, different things, but this is just taking it as a whole. Women were 1,083, which is $300, no, 220-ish less per week. So I'm not getting into the wage debate, but I'm just saying this is interesting. I'm thinking that he's saying this in more, or she in this situation, in a more like social way and not so much monetary. But let's see. This is an indisputable fact and is not up for debate. Then what is the point of learning and discussion then if you're not going to be open-minded to anything? I'm actually trying to hear this person out though, like genuinely. I'm going to hear their argument and I'm going to give my rebuttal even though they don't want to debate. By all the standards of the social scientists, men are disadvantaged compared to women. What? Have you seen sports? You know that men literally can't compete with women because we are like, and I know I'm gonna say it. We are biologically built different, bruh. Like, I'm not saying like women's sport ain't lit. Like, tennis is awesome. A couple other sports, amazing. Volleyball. I watch women's volleyball as much as I watch men's volleyball when it comes to like Olympics and stuff. And also Olympics is like, not Olympics, sorry, gymnastics. Both sides, amazing. But let's be realistic here. Men physically can just do, like, why do you think weightlifting and all that stuff, there's different classes and different gender classes when it comes to competition? And there's open, which is just usually men. Men live shorter. Yeah, statistically, we do live a little bit shorter, which is that is a true statistic. Harsher, more violent lives, is that subjective? And is that also based on culture and environment? I feel like no. Anyways, women have far more rights than men. That's incorrect. There's literally a law that is being debated, that gets to be debated based on the woman's body and choice to have a child. Where men, we don't have to debate that because we can't even have a child. And then we have also the option to like leave, which is messed up too. I don't think any guy should just leave their child, but I don't believe this. I know, and look, if this person wants to believe this, or if anyone wants to believe this, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but at the same time, you have to be open to discussion, because I genuinely don't believe that women have more rights than men. I think it's getting better, the equality between the two. However, I think men do get by with a lot more. I think in a societal standard, you might be able to debate that, but however, actual rights, no. Like law rights. No amount of gaslighting by feminists can deflect from this fact. Okay, well, he's not going to hear me out. So, men suffer from false consciousness, have no affinity as a group, and worst yet, harbor an innate hostility towards one another that perpetually cements them within their underclass position. Okay, men also possess a nigh irrational love and adoration for women. Not all. Some men like men, and have been proven to have an out-group bias, i.e. men like women more than they like the fellow man. That depends, because I've met some dudes. It depends on how much the man likes the woman. And then also, I have seen some times where the woman in the relationship likes the man much more, loves and adores the man much more. I feel like this can't be a apples to apples comparison, because everybody's relationship, everybody's life, and everybody's motivation towards women, their friends, and so forth is vastly different. Anyways, he says, or whoever says, this leads them to incessant pandering to women at the expense of their and other men's well-beings. These factors contribute to men being a diagnosed, segmented, marginalized group that are unable to rectify their oppressive social conditions, assuming they bother to even acknowledge the existence of them in the first place. Meanwhile, women are a highly organized upper-class group, okay, in which feminism aim to further push the rule they have over men through the orchestration of political campaigns and false narratives that aim to disparage, gaslight, and demonize the male party. I feel like they're talking about the extreme feminists, because the average feminist is like the average person. Like, genuinely, I feel like the average person is like, okay, equal rights, cool, I'm okay with that. The end goal: full systemic subjugation of the male population through legalized violence. What? Violence of government parties worldwide. What? Women have full spectrum social authority over the male underclass, and no other group has had as much political, social, and cultural domination over another group of people in the course of human history. Are you actually serious? Are you actually genuinely serious? Okay, I don't even need to do research on this. This is going to be a wild claim that I believe is going to be true, okay? If you statistically pull up every single ruler, dictator, any person of power in the world, you don't even have to pick a country, with the exception of like maybe a few countries, president, current day, past day, whatever. I'm like 99.9% sure majority is going to be men. Are you like, what are you saying? Like, women do not have as much political power and cultural power in the world ever in history. Now they have had more than they've ever had in history. However, it's still not the majority. What are you even saying? All right. I'm going to blur it for just a second. The current men's rights movement, r/men's rights, is basically dead. A novel that could be written on all the mistakes that the old anti-feminist communities repeatedly make. That's funny because that's where we found this collective on, or forum. Most people in men's rights spaces still believe in feminist concepts and consider the complete rejection of feminist ideas to be radical and extremist. Many men's rights activists are appeasers, cowards, and sellouts. If it's not just outright traitors of the male S, consider they undermine their own cause constantly. That's true. Current MRA spaces are full of constant concern trolling over MRA radicalism. The cockblocking behavior crushes the spirits of pro-male-minded men as they are banned, blocked, shunned, ignored, invalidated, and gaslighted from the spaces. That is a true thing that IS and stuff like that do. These MRA spaces are also invaded by racist reactionaries who will validate feminist rhetoric if directed towards an alien outgroup of men other than themselves, i.e. immigrants entering the country, and R-wording and trafficking. Wow, okay. Now I can unblur. The old MRM is stale and worthless. Men need to create a blah, 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 blah. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. The pro-male subculture needs to promote a pro-male ideology based on a foundation of evidence, logic, and on a consistent set of ethics. See, it's like they have much more knowledge of construction and organization than IS, where IS is just like a cesspool of just saying whatever crazy thing and rage bait thing you could say about women and other guys. However, I feel like their motive is just wildly fascinating because it's just what? But yeah, let's continue. That's just my opinion though. I'm not hating on any other dudes out there. You believe whatever you want to believe. The pro-male subculture must encourage a healthy mindset in men, one based on self-respect, compassion, and care for their fellow man. I agree. Some stuff on that. Then they list more rules. There's a lot of rules to this. Men need to have the correct mind space or mindset, okay? Men need to be proactive. They must be or strive to propagate pro-male ideas as much as possible outside of their own space, okay? Men not only need to be proactive, but they must coordinate in their approach using teamwork to signal boost each other. Pro-male men must set up their own online pop culture spaces and gatekeep them. What? You're promoting gatekeeping? Okay. We must avoid becoming a self-marginalized subculture. We are a vanguard ideology and will remain so until we wake up enough men. Strong man posturing and coping behaviors must be discouraged. Okay. We must reject feminism completely and utterly. We must reject the label completely. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Let's read some of the other forum things on here. And this is a relatively active forum. It's not as active as IS, but I mean, if you go to the earliest post here, it was only a month ago. So this is a pretty new one. And wow, already off rip. Look at this post. Why feminism is the gender, the group with the hoods on. So Mochi here says, cute name, feminism was never about equality. It has always been about female supremacy. Feminists protect and support female A-worders. See, that's extreme feminism, though. I feel like we're getting, and I you know what? I will say, to the credit of the pro-male collective guys and the guys that are in this subgroups, I think with feminism, we did start attributing them to radical feminism and feminists because that's what you see on headlines. That's what you see on the news. It's usually the craziest of the groups. I mean, that's left, right, whatever, right? Because media likes to promote the most rage bait things. And that sucks because I feel like the actual definition of feminism and the actual feminists out there, my community per se, or I believe at least most of my community, we're just normal people who think that everybody needs to become somewhat like in the middle and like love each other and positive towards each other, right? Everybody deserves rights. Here you go. Rights for you. Rights for you. More than 130 feminist leaders released an open letter in support of Amber Turd. I said Amber Turd. Okay, that's pretty wild. It gives a cited source as well. 2, feminists are expert in spreading lies, misinformation, and hatred towards men. Feminists constantly promote fear-mongering and hate-mongering against men. Feminists relies on academic fraud, manipulation, media control, gaslighting, lying. Again, this is just, I feel like just targeted towards extreme feminists. It's the same thing as saying all incels are like incels. There is a misconception that feminism is the past or first wave feminism was good. It is not. Saying first wave feminism is good is just like saying first stage of cancer is good. What? Okay, comparing feminism to cancer is wild. Feminism were terrorists and used to commit what? Okay, I'm not reading that. Women have historically participated in shaming men into war. What? Men have. I'm not like disproving that there are some women historically that probably have, but I'm pretty sure men have pushed men into war almost all the time. Like majority of the time, hard majority of the time. Like propaganda, things like all these world leaders, they're all dudes. By claiming that they were cowards and not real men if they don't participate in war. That was also a form of propaganda pushed by, and I'm pretty sure like the German troops in World War II were pushed by the ideology by a guy. The white feather movement is one of the most, many examples. Women are about as much responsible as politicians for starting wars. That is a wild claim. I'm going to say, have there been wars started by women and women adjacent, like pushes and stuff? Yes, 100%. There's probably been crazy wars in a pursuit of like a woman's love. Are you kidding me? Definitely. However, the majority of especially modern war has been pushed by men. Like I don't know this ideology. Like okay. Feminists are against gender equality. Not a true feminist. A radical one, yes. Feminists support and promote female supremacy. Again, radical ones. The average feminist shouldn't. True feminism shouldn't. Feminists hate men. I really disagree with this statement. To group all feminists in one group and say that they all hate men, I don't believe so. I believe my girlfriend doesn't hate me. I would hope not. And I would think that she would classify herself as someone who wants women to be equal, right? The Scum Manifesto is a radical feminist manifesto by blah, 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 who suggests that formation of Scum, an organization dedicated to eliminating the What? Is that actually a thing? That's pretty crazy then. That shouldn't be a thing. Feminists lie and claim that it is satirical, even though in 1968, well, this is the exact same thing that Incels do, right? When speaking to Marmince, Silences herself characterized the Scum Manifesto as dead serious. Wow, that's scary. Okay, that's scary. I agree that this is pretty crazy stuff, if that's true. Feminists all want men to be... No, see, that's not true either, because I'm pretty sure my girlfriend likes me. Pretty sure most of my following, that is majority women, most of them probably like me, I would think. At least in a, like, online stand. Feminism was never about gender equality. Feminism is about protecting female criminals. What? Wait, hold on. How is it about protecting female criminals? What in the world? How did you even get... What? Okay, anyways, we're moving on from that one. Men are vulnerable. Okay, I'm fascinated in this one. Despite having strict rules against hate, discrimination, and dehumanization, mainstream social media platforms do not enforce these rules when it comes to men, and because, according to their logic, men are not a vulnerable group. This is plainly wrong. Men are vulnerable, and data confirms this. First off, let's define the criteria of vulnerability. Okay, so before we dive into the concept of social media platforms do not enforce these rules, I do sympathize a little bit with this. I do agree that we as a society have, and it could be a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to blame just women. I also think men contributed to this as well. We do brush off a lot of things when it comes to men's mental state and certain things like that versus the women. And I have a good example of this. So even The Boys, a great TV show. I highly recommend you guys watch that if you guys are into like wild superhero drama type beat. But they the writers themselves tackled an essay with a woman character in great depth and great detail and great trajectory. However, when they tackled a man's essay, they almost like brushed over it and made it a funny thing, which I don't think actually worked for them, which I'm glad it didn't, because then it's like, okay, we at least see the problem here. Another example would be the Terry Crews situation. When Terry Crews came out about how he was getting essayed in the whole light of Hollywood, it was kind of pushed under the rug for a while until people actually like pushed it above and was like, hey guys, this is like an actual issue. Like the Weinstein issues and all that stuff, you know? Now, however, that shouldn't be for us to discredit the women's side of things. Women getting essayed is still a very terrible thing. Like, it's anyone getting essayed. That's the thing. We should just say anyone getting any form of any of this negative stuff sucks. And we shouldn't highlight any of it. It shouldn't be a comparison. It should be, hey, we're all in this together. This all sucks. But yeah, I do agree with that in the standpoint of like platforms and social media and stuff like that. Wow, this is a very long post. I am not going to get into this that much. Oh my God, dude, I really don't even think I have time to dive into this in this episode. I might dive into this in the next one, but let's read some of the head points or the, headliners. It says, criteria of vulnerability, economic discrimination, health inequality. Okay, well, I'm going to read that one today because women literally didn't even get studies until like a couple decades ago. Workplace challenges and exploitation, violence and discrimination, intersectionality of race and gender. Oh, fuck, man, I really am interested in this post now. I'm going to skim through a little bit of it. So economic discrimination. Feminists like to cite the gender pay gap, which has been debunked. What? Has it? I don't know. There are several cities in which in the U.S. where young women out-earn young men. Yeah, but several cities doesn't mean the majority. Okay, they're trying to cite some studies. Look, I'm just gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I've seen it. I mean, in an economic standpoint, like my sister, even being a girl boss, like she got a lot of discrimination. It was hard for her to make it to where she was, harder for her to make it where it was because she's a girl. I know these guys aren't gonna believe that, but you understand, because most of the head elites, most of the money breadwinners, and most of the people who are in power, and also most of the people in charge of these huge corporations are men. They typically do look down on women. Not all of them, but some of them do. And so it does have a barrier entry because it is a form of gatekeeping in a way, right? So I just don't understand this argument. I'm sure that they can pull up articles. They're cherry picking articles, in my opinion. I just don't think the majority of the world is like this at all with economic discrimination. I mean, in some countries, women can't even work. But yeah, anyways, I'm not going to dive too deep into that one. Health inequality. I'm really interested in this. The research was conducted against a general assumption that medical research was unfairly focused on men. Their complaints were loud enough to inspire research into the topic, where it was quickly found that far more interest and money were put into women's health research than men, including even in areas where men are known to be affected more. Really? I mean, just searching this alone, women often face higher out-of-pocket health costs than men. That's one thing that we could talk about. So women are statistically paying more for healthcare than men. Okay, here we go. So this is by National Liberty of Medicine as well. Gender disparity in the funding of diseases by the National Institution of Health. So right here, results. We find that in near 3/4 of the cases where a disease affects primarily one gender, the funding pattern favors males, and that either the disease affects more women and is underfunded with respect to burden, or the disease affects more men and is overfunded. Moreover, the disparity between actual funding and that is in which is commensurable with burden is nearly twice as large for diseases that favor males versus those that favor females. And I mean, I'm not saying like I'm cherry picking. I literally just Googled, is more money put into women's or men's health? And that was one of the articles. And it looks like majority of articles are pulling for women getting the short end of the stick. So I'm sure you can find some articles like these. But brother, I mean, come on. I think the only thing that I will agree with you is the whole thing that men have committed unaliving more. I do. That is an actual statistic. Yeah, I do agree with that. And I do feel like that is an issue that we need to bring to light with men's mental health. I do agree with that. However, just because we have a lack of that with that issue doesn't and shouldn't take away from women's health. Like, we shouldn't just be like, oh, just because of this one topic you guys don't care about, we're not going to care about any of yours. Like, why can't we just care about both, brother? Yeah, I'm going to continue. Workplace challenges and exploitation. What? Dude, you can't be serious. Okay, let's read this. The most dangerous health hazardous jobs are all male dominated. Yeah, but then if you're a guy who don't want to do a hazardous job, then don't do it. It's also said that more men seek these kind of jobs as well. But then again, we can't talk about masculinity and we can't talk about masculine traits because it's not real, okay? Based off of these guys, the ideology, men make up the majority of workplace fatalities and workplace injuries. Again, this is just lacking. These statements are lacking so many factors, biases, and different things that factor into this, like the fact that male-dominated jobs are more hazardous that we choose to pick to go into as well. Men are 10 more likely to be unalive. Blah blah blah. Okay, we continue, and that can connect. You can use that as an argument to say that men's jobs usually do pay more because more dangerous jobs do pay more. So like, I feel like they're using these arguments in the wrong ways. I feel like if you were to make an argument against feminism, there's better ways to do it than this, guys. And I'm not saying that you should, because I think that equality as a whole is a great thing. I'm just saying the ways that they're making these arguments are really silly. Violence and discrimination. Men are more likely to be, okay, hold up. Men face longer prison sentences for the exact same crime. While it is true that men are more likely to commit the crimes. Dude, what? It doesn't explain the gender disparity. Yeah, what are you talking about? You just said, oh, men face longer prison sentence times. But I mean, let's not account that we also commit more crimes. What? Which means even an African-American woman should get a shorter sentence than a white man. What? Men are more likely to be stopped by the police, and even when the women are stopped, they are less likely to get arrested. I'm sure that women do get some benefits when it gets to the police, for sure. Pretty privilege is probably a thing. And it's also due to the fact that most of the police are men that are stopping. So it's again, this is us on us problem. I don't know why we're bringing the women into this. Men are discriminated against even when they are the victims, as criminals are harsher punished for unaliving women than for unaliving a man. Huh? Is that true? I'm not too sure about that, but if that's true, that's interesting. And overall, men are 90% of those in prison, 98% of death row inmates. Yeah, because, dude, we're the ones doing all the crazy shit, bro. Are you guys serious right now? Now, I do agree that there are some disparity in some categories, but the overall, no. They are more likely. Okay, I'm going to skip forward because these are just silly claims. Some of this might have validity, but a majority of it doesn't. And I just don't have time to dive into this. If you guys want me to, let me know in the comment section down below. We can do it in another episode. Hopefully this gets good views because I'm totally down to explore this. I mean, I'm already rolling on 47 minutes of filming. I don't think I could tackle all of this form. But I'm going to do at least one more for you guys. All right. Feminism. This is by the creator too. Feminists have full spectrum dominance over the culture is the title of this one. I think this is the creator. I could be wrong. So we need to copy feminist tactics. The form is wonderful and it is in fact vital for the growth of the pro-male collective. This is our safe space and home base, so to speak. This website is vital to our future growth. We must still must have a presence on other social media platforms. We can't just hide here and keep our heads down. MGTOs and incel spaces tend to be passive and full of men who hide. Social media platforms want to silence us, and from this point of view, for good reason. We are a threat to the female supremacy system. Feminists have full spectrum control or cultural dominance over the internet. Feminists are everywhere. They are in the background. Well, the reason though, I'm not saying like it's good or right or wrong. The reason is because more people believe that women are, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying more people inherently are going to believe that women throughout history have gotten less rights. And for that reason, there's going to be more people who are for the equality of them. Where I think less people, a lot less, believe that men have had less rights and less equality. They are the background radiation on the internet. They are website owners and forum mods. They spew their casual misandry relentlessly. I will say there are some platforms out there that are very hateful with women-owned platforms that are pushing ideology against men. I do agree with that. I feel like their anger should be targeted towards just those groups. But again, I should feel like, guys, this is just a circle of hate. Why are we doing this? And it is fully intended to undermine the morale of men and put them in their place to psychologically scar them. We must be everywhere. We must be in the background gatekeeping our own spaces, and we must be in public ones pushing our ideas. We must encounter to the feminist background radiation. We are the cure to the feminist cancer. When we grow, we need to produce game, music, art, comics, and all sort of cultural media, and to push this uplifting pro-male message to men. Isn't that a lot of subgroups and cultures already, like bodybuilding and all that? I mean, anyways, men are psychologically beaten down. This is not an accident. Feminist actions are designed to keep men down mentally. We must help men break free of our mental chains. We are the pro-male vanguard. We are the next stage of the men's rights movement. The pushback, the fight back, the revolt starts here. We must go everywhere. Our longtime goal is to become the gatekeepers of the internet and gatekeep feminists out. You're going to gatekeep feminists out of the internet. Wild. Before I go, there's this one post that I saw earlier I really want to read with you guys. I think it's one of the newer ones. This was just so silly. So what are we actually doing to stop feminism? I'm also curious. What are you guys going to do? Like, just besides talk on this forum, like, what is your genuine plan? It seems like you guys want to organize something, but I don't know what. I hope it's nothing hateful. It shouldn't be. And I strongly detest that. And I don't think anyone should do anything hateful towards any group. But this user says, I have read the rules and I hope that this doesn't count as breaking any of them. But what are our actual plans to stop feminism, considering the feminists currently control most of the governments in the EU, UK, Canada, US, Australia, and many other places around the world? Really? You believe that? That's interesting. And men are constantly losing their rights with... What? Where? Where are we losing our rights? Like genuine rights? Like lawful rights? I feel like some humans are losing their rights as a whole, but I don't think men are... What? Okay, anyways, with more and more countries installing military service, all the women-only programs to help victims of violence, and all of the other things that I'm sure everywhere is well aware of, or everyone is well aware of. Do we have an actual plan to fight against this? And then the OG PMC says, what do you want to do to stop feminism? How do we do it? Let me hear your ideas. Then I will explain what we are up to. What? So he just, it almost sounds, okay, I'm not being mean to this guy, but it sounds like he's like, doesn't actually have a plan and wants to hear what his plan is and then feed off of that. What? The first reality is I had to accept, come to terms with regarding men is that we're not all going to make it. What? Meaning it cannot be accepted that a majority of men will realize the problem and combat it. So regarding feminism, see, my eyes is like, dude, we are on this earth for so short. Why are we like fighting demons and ghosts that aren't even like actual demons and ghosts? Like there's a lot of other things you could be focused on, like bettering your life. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So regarding feminism, we start small and always remember that an organized minority is more powerful, productive, and effective than a disorganized majority. This is kind of a scary thought. We start by simply ceasing and desisting as far as we can, given our individual circumstances, from society's expectations of us and our expected role, and proceed to center, support, and cherish ourselves first. We find like-minded men offline for support. Even I do encourage this. I hope that we are all supporting one another. Even one like-minded male friend is often more than enough. For starters, we start male-only programs. But why? Like, I don't understand this, because then this is just going to make all of our ideology and all of our thoughts the same. And like that, you know how bad that is, right? Diversity of thoughts is so important. Outside the jurisdiction of law, legislation, and feminist influence, an organized minority of like-minded men can begin to lobby, pressure governments locally. In the first instance, just a few thoughts. Wow, I cannot believe they're like pushing towards lobbying. Wow. Okay. I am cooked, bro. We are almost at an hour of filming. Wow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because golly, what the hell? I mean, if this does some good numbers, man, and you guys let me know in the comment section, I am definitely down to explore this again. Because, I mean, even me reading this right now while talking to you guys, I'm reading more headlines by different people, different users that are just so, like, wow. You know? Like, case in point on why I would never vote for a woman for president. Like, what? Anyways, I'm done. I'm so cooked. I'm cooked from reading this. I love you guys. I'm hungry. I got to work out. And yeah, I'll just catch you guys in the next video. Love you guys. And before I do go, I just want to let these guys know, because I know one of them is going to be lurking. Look, I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody. I don't believe most of my community, if not all of my community, hates anyone specifically. The point of these videos is to open discussion and hopefully help some people out there have an open mind, have an open perspective on every walk and thought of life. And these are just my thoughts. I hope that all these dudes do great things in their lives, not pertaining to, like, eliminating feminism. I don't think that's a great thing at all. I think that, yeah, I just don't know. It's crazy. I hope everybody has a great day, though. I love you guys all so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.